Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have two stories for you from the NuclearRevenge subreddit. Before we start, today's video is sponsored by me, my 3D printing site dangly3d.com. You can jump over there and pick yourself up one of these dragons, or one of these dragons, or one of these dragons, or you can get a keychain like this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one right here. Of course, this is the same spot that you can pick up your 3D printed KCC channel mascot, Carmen Chameleon, complete with cookies. Right now, we're offering free shipping to anywhere in North America for orders over $30 Canadian. That's only like $22 US. Jump onto the website and check it out. It's dangly3d.com. Link in the top of the description down below. Alright, on to the stories. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from Pro Boner Council. Finally pieced together the truth about my cheating ex-wife and will ruin her relationship and her affair partner's career. As a pretext, my now ex-wife, whom I was with for nearly 13 years, suffered heavily with mental health issues following the isolation of the COVID-19 pandemic. After battling depression and self-esteem issues, as someone with borderline personality disorder, she joined a karate class, as it was a passion of hers when she was younger. My 9-year-old daughter also joined with her. A teacher at the school, whom my ex looked up to, took advantage of her fragile mental state. Don't get me wrong, my ex is guilty as F too, and seduced her during her evening private one-on-one lessons that I was paying for. He knew she was married, he knew my daughter was at classes he oversaw. I suspected them for several months and had tons of things that didn't add up, circumstantial evidence, and confronted my ex several times to be lied to. Ultimately, after I finished paying for my ex's education and she graduated a few months later, she wanted a new career, she ended the relationship and continued seeing her affair partner karate instructor. In the months that followed, she denied any wrongdoing, was awful to me, showing up to my home to harass my girlfriend, who was over, and neglectful to our children's emotional needs. She also took over half my savings, and I had to rebuy my home 3 months before my mortgage was paid off. She openly talked about the relationship I had with my girlfriend months after my relationship with my ex was over, in order to alienate my children from me as the betrayer. This week, my kids were introduced to this new friend of their mother's, who apparently has been leaving candy at their door for months. I learned his first name, and through some Facebook sleuthing, discovered it was my ex's karate instructor that I suspected all along. Given the questions from my children about the nature of the relationship with my girlfriend, which I didn't plan to reveal to my children for some more months, as a result of their mother's loose mouth and invasion of my privacy, I spilled the beans that the man they met was their mother's affair partner, and he contributed to breaking up our family. I did so in a way to not alienate my children from their mother and cast her actions as a big mistake that can't be forgiven by me, but she is still their mother and loves them. I did ensure they absolutely despise her affair partner though, by focusing on his breach of conduct and position of abusing his authority. They will never accept him and think he's a disgusting person for breaking up their family. I then left a 1-star review on Google and detailed what happened while being ambiguous about specific names of individuals involved. I then contacted the head office of the 40 schools in this large chain and detailed the situation and requested swift termination of this instructor while making them aware under the Civil Code of Quebec, Canada, where I live, that employers can be vicariously liable for the wrongful acts of their employees in the course of their employment under the principle of extra contractual liability. Spoke to a lawyer through my employer's EAP. I then went to his mostly restricted Facebook page where he had only his profile background image public that had 40+ likes. I added everyone to tell them about the morally and ethically reprehensible behavior of their friend or family member and how he met his new girlfriend, my ex. Opie added a quick edit in the middle here. It says, I forgot to add that I also reported him to the governing body for karate in Canada. The home wrecking instructor is affiliated. It is possible he will lose his black belt status due to ethics violations, as the discipline is not just based on skill, but also on the practitioner's adherence to ethical principles, discipline, and the standards set forth by their particular martial arts organization or governing body. I unleashed all of this within 24 hours of learning his first name through a passive conversation with my children. He will almost certainly be fired from a career that is his passion. Family and friends will lose respect for him. He may lose his black belt, and this will almost certainly shake whatever foundation of a relationship my ex has with this homewrecker. I would never want her back. I just want to F her and his crap up beyond repair. The best revenge though, living well. Due to the nature of how my ex ended the relationship, there is no love lost, and I managed fantastically being single for many months before I met someone unexpectedly that is terrific. She's beautiful, sweet, caring, we have great nookies, she loves children as a primary school teacher but doesn't want any, and we get along better than anyone I have ever met in my life. She loves me and I love her. She's also 8 years younger than my ex, who was 4 years older than me. Unlike my ex's affair partner that my children hate, they can't wait to eventually meet my girlfriend and are genuinely happy for me. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Send In the Other Clowns. It says, "Careful mate, he might kick your butt." I'm being half sarcastic. The other half, be careful, he could lose his crap and come after you. OP responded and said, "I'm not too worried. The guy is in his mid-50s, about 15 years older than me, and looks like he's made out of hamburgers. He also looks like a total unattractive loser. Any threat from him would be a threat with a deadly weapon. I would immediately contact police, he would be charged, and I would seek full custody of my children, as they would be exposed to this man through my ex if their relationship even lasts through this. Affairs in the shadows are easy. In the light of harsh realities, the excitement dies and the conflicts arise. Both the Wu-Tang Clan and Pro Boner Council are not to be effed with." Another commenter down below called Nuts for Death says, "Nah, I can't see him losing his job over this. They can make up whatever story they want to argue against your case, and she'll back him up on it, so it'll just be your word against theirs. They might even make you out to be some delusional, deranged, abusive partner, if they so want." OP responded to this one and said, "I have plenty of text messages to my ex about coming home late from karate and random hours, specifically about him when she was with him. I have texts telling me not to worry about him as he is married. He is not. I have texts from my ex confirming there was someone else since before our relationship was over. But at the time, she didn't confirm who it was. She has been in a relationship with him since, and I only learned the name recently to confirm it, but there is evidence to suspect him for many months through interactions with my ex." I found it pretty interesting in this one that OP did a whole lot of things to ruin the affair partner's life, but didn't really do a whole lot to his ex. I mean, OP even paid for the ex's education, and then the ex left him once it was all done. Like she was just there for his money. And then when that was done, she took off for the other guy. I just feel like she got off easy on this one, and OP really focused on the affair partner. This story comes to us from Jeep Hammer. Have an affair on my friend? Nope. A childhood friend that was the most empathetic, kind guy I've ever known did a hitch in the Navy, went into computers, and played guitar in a band. Married a pretty mean girl that liked the idea of a big wedding and musician husband, but had no interest in a marriage. She was her family's golden child, drop dead gorgeous, and completely narcissistic spoiled. They buy land, he borrows money, and has his family build their house to reduce cost. He was paying them back over time, while she spent money and socialized, sometimes working a part-time job. Inside of 2 years, she's bored and starts an affair, or we think never stopped affairs, but gets caught. And while the empathetic guy tries to work things out, she makes false accusations of domestic abuse and files for divorce, with restraining order keeping him out of the home he and his family built with their own hands. Now, keep in mind, he's still paying his family back for the home, still ordered to pay for the land, and most of the upkeep and maintenance. He's back in his childhood bedroom while his wife entertains her men in that house. With some research by the lawyer, the family still technically owned the house. Now, my family owned a heavy equipment business, including house structural movers. Look up house movers to verify what I said. When she went on vacation with her family and new boyfriend, we went in, jacked up the house, and drove off with it, repossessed. The structure wasn't covered in the court order, just the mortgaged land. She had legal claim to the land, her name was on the mortgage, but the structure appeared nowhere on the deed, and there was still money owed on most of the materials and labor, so it was simply reposted. Now, the judge wasn't happy at all, but it wasn't illegal to repossess, since the land mortgage was the only thing he was court-ordered to pay. She came home to foundation, pipes, and wires sticking out of the ground, and a crappy used barn with her personal possessions in it. Now, it wouldn't be nuclear if it stopped there. Since the main character has recently passed away, I can tell more. We had a guy we called Big Bob, and the name fits. Everyone probably knows someone that defies jail, death, is a walking demolition crew, and in fact, we called him Demolition Man for a while after the movie. Apparently, someone put adult toys in her possessions, found when her dad and friends came to get the rest of her possessions out of the yard barn. There was other adult stuff in there as well. Someone used her pictures in the dating magazines, pre-internet, for a paid escort with her phone number. Her parents even had to change their phone numbers a few times. Someone got those change of address cards from the post office and sent her mail around the country. Someone knew exactly when the legal separation happened, and she was supposed to get her own car insurance, but she didn't get that letter. Her car burned down in her workplace parking lot a few days after the legal separation happened. And of course, she didn't get the insurance company notification in the mail, so no insurance. Someone had intimate pictures printed, man's face blacked out on flyers. The printing pointed out that wasn't her husband at the time, and stuck them under windshield wipers at her family's church, every place she worked, all around her neighborhood. Cops got involved in that, but they couldn't find where the flyers were printed. Big Bob was an over-the-road truck driver. Everything died down when she finally agreed to let our friend buy her out on the land for a reasonable sum, paying for it twice, and dropped the restraining order. Less than a week after he had clear title, the house showed back up right where it was before. Since it was still on the steel used to move it, all we had to do was stick a truck back under it and take it back and hook it up. This was until she decided to marry a guy from a hard-working family that were doing well. She love-bombed the poor hard-working sap. He never knew what hit him. She had a bachelorette party with her pretty mean girlfriends at a local recreation lake and rubbed it in her bachelorette party was going to cost more, be better than her wedding to my friend. I think that's what cued the Nuclear Revenge. The flyers showed up all over at his bachelor party, at his parents' house with his family, and her bachelorette party got busted for substances when they found several people in various stages of undress, including the bride-to-be, and quite a bit of substances, bunches of alcohol, etc. When that wedding blew up, the wedding dress from the first marriage to our friend showed up on a scarecrow with a pentagram on the front, what looked like blood on it in her front yard. No one even missed the wedding dress from the first wedding until then. Every time she dated someone seriously, etc., the flyers showed back up. She finally gained about 50 to 70 pounds and quit trying to date seriously. She looked like her 70-pound overweight mother, but 30 years earlier. She married a fat truck driver eventually. Rest in peace, Big Bob. You are one heck of a friend, and we are all going to miss you. We will sing the song of your people and raise a glass to you every time we meet. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Peter Horvath PhD. It says, "Oh, that's wow. OP responded to this one and said, "We were in diapers together. The geeks, nerds, loose-ends together in school. Most of us did a hitch in the military, so we are vets together. We have helped start and support each other's businesses. We are all each other's kids' godfathers, etc." Bob had no filters, short of physical harm to females. There wasn't much off the table for him, and you never get to mess with his little buddy like she did. We are all big workhorse farm construction boys. The betrayed husband was the smallest of us, so big brother instinct kicks in when someone messes with him. Bob was a friggin' force of nature. How he never got arrested or died is beyond me, and absolutely no one believes the Big Bob stories unless they were there. When Bob worked for our family business, we got a 71 miles per hour in a 55 miles per hour zone speeding ticket in a truck with an entire 3-bedroom house on the back. We get together every year and race plastic Barbie cars down a big hill, alcohol and barbecue involved, the past few years a live band, etc. About 300 people last year. It's on Armed Forces Day, veterans involved, and there was actually an artificial leg bet and lost. The guy had to wait until the next year to win it back. A bet is a bet. It's the "wanna go" guys. They never ask where or what. It might be building or wiring someone's house or garage. It might be sky or scuba diving. You may need spare socks and bail money, but it's not boring. Back when I first started dating my wife, she said she hadn't flown before, so her first flight was on the Goodyear blimp. We bought a lot of tires back then and got tickets. Between the bunch, we can move about anything. We can build about anything, including finishing concrete. There are computer guys, serious race cars and car weekends. You just never know what's next. We are slowing down now that we're in our 60s. I have a picture of me, Big Bob, and another guy on the top of a moving van. Bob has a ghetto blaster on his shoulder. It was blasting Motley Crue, and we are doing the ZZ Top Shuffle at about 50 miles per hour. Almost got arrested that day. The state police were not amused, but the car show crowd loved it. We don't mess with civilians, play by the rules, and you have nothing to worry about. It's not a good idea to screw with any of us or our families. We take that personal. If you think Big Bob is an exaggeration, I'm 6'5", and he was taller than me. I'm going through this story and I'm reading and listening to all the things that OP has done, and then we get to the point where they say, "and this is where the nuclear revenge begins." I'm like, wait, you mean it hasn't started yet? OP and their friends have already destroyed this person, and then they take it even further. I also want to comment that OP's friend group sounds absolutely amazing. People that are tied together that tightly must be such a wonderful thing to have. Unfortunately, I wouldn't know.